Called to the regular common council meeting, Monday, February 3rd, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Webb. Yes. McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
Mark Walnuts.
Yes.
Chris Walnuts.
Yes.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Confirmation of appropriate meeting notice.
Meeting was noticed on Friday, January 31st. Agenda is posted at BMO Harris Bank, the Post Office, Library, and City Hall.
Council acceptance of the agenda.
Motion to accept. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Personal appearances. Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Janice Ringhan, 412 Fowler Circle in Evansville, and I am a candidate for the 15th Senate District, of which Edgerton is a part. I currently represent the 45th Assembly District. I live in Evansville, represent Evansville, Most Avoid, Orfordville, and Rock County, and part of Greene County, Albany, Brodhead, Judah area, and the townships surrounding them. I was first elected to the State Assembly in 2010 to the 80th Assembly District before redistricting. With that, I got cut out of my district, and I lived in the 45th all of a sudden, so I ran there and have been very active in local government for 11 years before I went to the state. I served on the Evansville City Council starting in 1998 and served as mayor for 2 terms in 2002, 2004. Total of 11 years altogether, so I recognize some of you. I knew Ramona back then and worked with Matt different times for different events. So I know a little bit about Edgerton, but when I was on the city council in Evansville, I was on just about every committee that the city had except for historic preservation. So I chaired finance, planning, public works, park and rec, served on utilities, public safety, fire, all of those. And since I've been at state level, I also serve on urban and local affairs, which deals with municipal situations, workforce development, small business development, veterans affairs, and government operations. So it's quite a variety of different committees that I've served on, and pretty broad-based municipal background. So looking forward to serving this area as your state representative, and I have some cards here. If you'd like to have those, I'll just pass those around quickly. And I know you probably have a busy agenda tonight, but if you have any quick questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. So.
It is a pretty light agenda, but having you been involved with municipal government, you know how it works with the agendas and
Yes, I do.
and posting of any discussions. So
Right. Yes,
if there's anyone that has anything that would like to at least present, otherwise.
I just know you did a good job over in Evansville there.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, they continue to re-elect me time after time, so I guess I was doing something right.
Were you involved with that senior center over there and stuff?
Yes. Actually, when I was mayor, we had an organization come to us, and we had an anonymous donor who wanted to donate $1 million for a senior center. But the money would stay invested, and we could only draw the interest off and use that towards the senior center, so that we always would have a source of money for it. So I got involved with that. I was actually the first interim executive director, so we did all the legwork with finding out the land, getting a 501c3, going through the remediation of our old cooperatives property, and had to have that remediated through a brownfield process, and then actually got right down to the architecture and selection of a company to do all that. So yes, I was involved with that for close to 5 years. So it took a few years to get it done, but we raised about $2.5–3 million just in general public from individuals, so we did not depend on any local money at all for that.
Oh.
It's that endowment. We did get a CDBG loan for $500,000, and the rest was all individual donations from private citizens.
Did you have a group, could you have a group of people, like like a fundraising team or something? Or? Okay,
Yes,
committee, there you
we
go.
had a regular board of directors, and then we had a fundraising committee. And it wasn't so easy for us. We hired a professional to do it for the fundraising part of it, because that's something that none of us really knew how to do. So we hired a professional fundraiser and worked with them. But it was local people that did most of the legwork, so, yeah. It's a great project, turned into a wonderful community venue.
You gotta appreciate them anonymous donors. Oh, yeah.
Dave, you don't have the right connections.
You know any millionaires?
Oh, no. I don't have the right connections either.
So we were totally surprised that the person who eventually did reveal her identity was an elderly lady in town.
Good for her.
And,
Wonderful.
Her and her husband never had children, and so this is what they wanted to do to pay back to the community. He was an electrician in the community, had his own business. And, you know, the community supported them in their business all those years. I think they must have invested wisely. So it was a wonderful tribute to the community to have that. It's great.
I know you did Lake Leota restoration and stuff like that. It was just quite the
So that-
situation.
Yeah, when I was mayor, we put that on the 5-year capital plan. And then when I was back on city council, I was the chairman of Park and Rec, and we actually did the project. Yeah. So that was another good project that we accomplished. Another one that was a little contentious, but
Oh, yeah.
we got it done, and now everybody claims it was their idea.
Hey, Mayor, Chris, can I ask another question?
So it was a very good
Well,
project.
you know how it works if we're getting too out of line here.
Like I say, how is it going up there right now?
With the newspaper. Yeah, it's a little contentious, and the budget issue, the surplus, is going to be the biggest issue that we're going to be discussing. And I'm running as a Democrat, as most of you probably know, but I'm a very fiscal conservative. My background is finance, and so I am tight with the buck, and I think we need to be very cautious before we go give back all this money that isn't really in our hands. It's, you know, it's an estimate of what we will have brought in by the mid-2015. And to start giving away too much of it, you know, the projections are that 2014 is not going to be as financially stable as 2013 was. So I am recommending caution. And we'd like to give some of that money back to some of the areas that were cut. Education, municipalities, transportation funds. That's my, let's restore some of those cuts. I, you know, having been in municipal government, definitely understand what it's like to have to deal with those cuts. And even our small townships are just screaming right now that they don't have any funding for roads. That's their biggest issue. So I'd rather see some of the money go back there. But I don't know if I'll get my wish.
I had tons more, but that's enough.
Well, give me a call sometime.
No, you bet, Janice.
I'd
You bet you will.
be happy to chat with any of you individually if you have questions. And you know, I always like to tell people kind of in my party is that when I was mayor for 2 terms, because you know you only get to vote as a tiebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
I got to vote twice while I was mayor, and both of them were on sidewalk issues.
Mayor beat your record.
I think it was 17 in the first year.
Serious? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
A record.
I can't get
That's
along
good.
here.
Yeah.
Different opinions and,
Yeah, 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 and you know, in local government, even though you disagree, you still get along at the end of the day. I miss that. We'll work towards healing that. Well, thank you so much for having me in tonight. Good to see all of you, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak?
This young lady is my staff person, Mrs. Maggie Dow. She's a person whose voice you'll hear on the phone, who you'll see if you come to my office. So, very helpful in all kinds of matters. So, she's my true support staff. So thank you. And
Thank you. Have a good night.
not too grueling tonight. Bye-bye.
right.
We'll move on to the minutes from January 20th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Finance Committee.
Okay, motion to approve bills and payroll list in the amount of $159,815.63.
Second.
Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
excuse me, Mark.
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
And that passes.
We have no licenses, so we'll skip that. Motion to adopt City of Edgerton Resolution 01-14, approving the write-off of the 2012 delinquent personal property taxes, and to post those
I'll second.
in the paper.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts.
Yes.
And that passes.
Motion to adopt City of Edgerton Resolution 02-14, approving the assigned fund balance for the year ending December 31st, 2013.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
And that passes.
And motion to adopt City of Edgerton Resolution 031-14, approving budget transfers and amendments for the year ending December 31st, 2013.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Mark Walnuts.
Yes.
And that passes.
And motion to approve the replacement of a city garage heater with air care specialist in the amount of $2,309.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts.
Yes.
And that passes.
And a motion to purchase a squad car petition from Jefferson Fire and Safety
Second.
for $560.
Did hear a second in there, didn't
You
I?
did hear a second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Very nice, Mark.
Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
That passes.
Motion to approve an event packet for the Evan Riley Band and consider waiving fees, of which we don't have any.
Second.
Just what is Evan Riley Band?
You're going to be videotaping some of the local bands in different places in the city. Or
They want to, what are they making a film of it, or what is
make a
it?
video of it.
Video, yeah, okay. And are they going to have alcohol in Central Park?
They're not, all they're going to do is film.
It's basically, they're going to start on Henry Street, from what I understand, Dave, and then they're going to move over to Central Park. It's just creating the video. There's no party, there's no festival, anything to do with it, so I think it'll probably be,
No
what,
public
2
invited.
hours? Yeah,
So
and I
like a,
figure about 200 people at the most. They'll have different people stationed in different areas of their venue.
sounds like a very nice, exciting thing.
Basically, what you're going to get is the bands and their local following and
Yeah. I mean,
whatever taping crew that's required.
very healthy.
And if they weren't doing it on the public street, they probably wouldn't even need to go through this process, would they?
Correct, they just
Go
want
and
to
use
close the
park.
street. That's the reason for the public event.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts.
Yes.
And that passes. Must be about it.
That would be it.
Plan Commission, we met last Wednesday and granted Sid's Tire and Auto a conditional use to vehicular sales and trailer sales for 6 months on his conditional use, with a number of conditions that have to be met prior to having the sales. And then the other 2 items are on here for consideration here.
Motion to approve extraterritorial land division for John Vanco and Richardson Spring Road, Town of Fulton.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre,
Yes.
And that passes.
And a motion to approve extraterritorial land division for Sharon Deegan and Helen and James Grant Trust, Allendale Road, Town of Fulton.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Webb,
Yes.
McIntyre,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yep.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
And that passes. Next item is to consider appointment of Business Park Review Board, and that's the architect position that we were waiting to fill, and there was architect
Staff report on page 5 and proposal starting on page 7.
proposal, that's it.
And there is also a one-page fee schedule that you did not have in your packet that was promised that you would have today, and it is here. 3 firms were asked to respond. 2 replied. For those of you who have been around Plan Commission for a while, you may recognize the names. The first one, John Bano, works for TJK. That's a design-build firm in Madison. John was involved in the design of Sarah's building, not as her architect, but as a city's rep to try to influence the design. He also designed the large format building that's now the 111 Interstate. So he's done work here in the city of Edgerton. The second proposal is from Van de Waal and Associates. They have been with the city in various capacities over the years. They have architecture service. They have done all of the facade work in the downtown when an architect is involved in assisting building owners and trying to imagine what their buildings might look like if they made improvements to the outsides of them. So they are also very familiar with the city and qualified. Their fees are about the same. You can see the fee schedule from John Bano called Impulse Design Studio, the one that's in front of you on your table. And the fees for Van de Waal are, depending upon who is involved, $150 or $160, so the fees are about the same. So either firm could easily do the work. They're both familiar with Edgerton. I guess the one disadvantage of the John Bano, the Impulse Design, is that he's a sole guy, so if he were gone, we would not have someone to fall back on. But probably a more important advantage of John Bano is that his experience is probably more suited to the kind of work we're asking him to do, which is a design-build firm is a firm that has to work with clients to try to figure out how to get something done, modifying a building, modifying the architecture. So that's really what we're looking for, someone to review projects for compliance with the covenants in the business part. But if someone needs assistance with, well, we can't make this project work because of we have this design item that we have to work into it. John's probably going to be really well suited to the box industrial manufacturing kind of building, maybe more so than Van de Waal would be. So that's just in their experience because that's what they do more often.
I will make a motion that we go ahead with an appointment of John J. Bano for the open position on the Business Park Review Board.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chris Walnuts,
Yes.
McIntyre,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Mark Walnuts,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
And that passes. Mayor, alderpersons, and staff reports, I don't have anything.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.